Back to the daily grind. It's full-time MMA. Let's get to it. Oh, shit. Hey, Tyron Woodley is somewhere in another country right now with a laptop and a thumb drive, and he's got a reporter with him, and he's about to leak some shit like on the movie Snowden. Oh, he's so fucking, he's got to be pissed at this. Michael Bisping announced on Fox Sports 1 he's officially set to headline Madison Square Garden November 4th, UFC 217 versus George St. Pierre for the middleweight title. Oh, it's so funny because at the end of UFC 214, Tyron Woodley's fight in the octagon, he said, I'll be fighting George St. Pierre in Madison Square Garden November 4th. Fuck. Dang. Alright, so this and then if you remember, he went on to threaten Dana White. He said, I demand a public apology or else I'm leaking some shit. Then Kobe Covington, his teammate, came out and said, don't worry, Dana White, I got your back. I got some shit on some dirt on Tyron Woodley that would ruin his whole life. After that, Tyron Woodley came back out. He came back out and he said, you know what? We're good. We're good. I'm not leaking nothing. I still want an apology, but I ain't gonna leak nothing. And so Tyron Woodley, he's now that this is announced, we'll see, because this is interesting. I can say I am excited for this fight. George St. Pierre versus Michael Bisping is gonna be a good fight. I do think so. I don't think it's going to be boring. George St. Pierre is not going to be able. A lot of people say it's going to be boring. They think George St. Pierre is going to lay on Michael Bisping, but I disagree. Michael Bisping's bigger than the guys George St. Pierre normally fights. He's going to be able to, and he's going to be able to. He knows how to use it. He'll be able to jab. He's going to be throwing that jab all night, trying to keep his distance. He's not going to, and he's got some better defensive wrestling than people give him credit for. So, I mean. Just Dan Henderson, he was a really good wrestler. I mean, say whatever you want, but Dan Henderson's a really good wrestler. And whenever he got Michael Bisping down, it wasn't from repeated takedowns. It was from dropping him with the Hendo bomb, with the fucking, you know what I'm saying? So, this is going to be a good fight. It's definitely worthy of the Madison Square Garden headline. Both of these guys are fucking legends of the sport. They're both going to be in the Hall of Fame, that's for sure. So this is two future Hall of Famers clashing in the headline for a title. George St. Pierre's return. Michael Bisping, Left Hook Larry, the unlikely champion, made it at the end of his career to the title. Now he gets to fight the returning legend, welterweight, possibly one of the greatest fighters of all time, returning to another weight division. Holy crap, this is big. What's next after the fight? Does Michael Bisping fight Yoel Romero if he fights Robert Whitaker? If the winner of this is most likely going to have to fight Robert Whitaker. Yeah, because they don't have any. I'm wondering if GSP wins this fight, if he can make Robert Whitaker wait and do a super fight or something for another belt, or if he's going to have to fight Robert Whitaker at middleweight. I really think he's going to have to fight Robert Whitaker because Robert Whitaker's the interim champion. So we'll probably see the winner of this fight fighting Robert Whitaker. I'm hoping Robert Whitaker, man. He's been coming out and he's been putting on a lot of epic performances. He's a really good fighter, man. He's one of the elite fighters in the division, and probably a lot of people have him as the rightful champion at middleweight. A lot of people talk about the fact Michael Bisping hasn't fought a real contender at middleweight as far as a top 5 contender. He won the belt from Luke Rockhold. He knocked Luke Rockhold out spectacular fashion. He was a huge underdog. No one expected it to happen, but he got the win over the champion. And since then, he's went on to fight ranked 13 Dan Henderson, and now he's fighting unranked George St. Pierre at middleweight. Even though this is a super fight, it's a lot of people, you know, you're still going to have critics that say, well, what about, well, he's not fighting contenders, and that's fine. You can say that if you want, but I know I'm interested in this fight. I can't wait for this fight. I think it's a Madison Garden headline worthy. I'm interested to see how this card fills out. Somebody was talking about Jorge Masvidal versus Robbie Lawler for the interim welterweight championship at Madison Square Garden. Ooh, that would be nice. That would be nice. I would like to see that. And they were teammates previously, but Robbie Lawler left AT&T. Everyone's really keeping a hush on why he left. No one's really leaking or telling why he left or what happened. Everyone's keeping silence. It really making me wonder, did he get into it with someone? You remember he was Tyron Woodley's teammate when they won. Tyron Woodley knocked him out for the championship. After that, he left the gym. Is it because his ego, his pride, he doesn't want to go back to training, with the same team that is with the guy that took the belt from him? Is it just too awkward in the gym? Where's Kobe Covington at? Why don't you leak that shit? Tell us why Robbie Lawler left AT&T. Kobe Covington, he sounds like he wants to tell on somebody. He wants to tell some news. There you go. That's what I want to know. Why did Robbie Lawler leave AT&T? Will he fight Jorge Masvidal now? Jorge Masvidal didn't want to fight him before, but will Jorge Masvidal fight him now that he's left AT&T? I know Jorge Masvidal will fight anybody for that gold. So if they're going to put an interim welterweight championship on the line, I know Jorge will say we'll sign the dotted line. Will Robbie fight Jorge? Robbie Lawler said he's a mean dude. He would have did the same thing to Tyron that Tyron did to him. So Robbie, I'm sure he'll say, yeah, he left AT&T for the interim title versus and that would be such a good fight too, man. Jorge Masvidal versus Robbie Lawler. So it is what it is. Hit subscribe on the new channel. I really don't care if you hit subscribe on this channel because it might go down. I mean, you can hit subscribe on here, but if you're going to hit subscribe on here, you definitely want to hit subscribe on the placeholder, the bookmark channel. I'll be uploading this to that channel too, just because this has 2 copyright strikes, and I'm sure he's flagged every video on this fucking channel. So I'm going to, just in case YouTube's algorithm shuts my shit down without looking into it before the appeal goes through, this is going to get suspended for a while, so you'll have to follow me on the new channel, it's nothing but clicking another button, hitting subscribe. It's back to the daily grind. Full-time MMA. What the fuck you time at, dude? An optimist sees the light at the end of the tunnel and thinks it's an exit. A pessimist sees the light at the end of the tunnel and assumes it's an onrushing train. The train conductor sees 2 idiots staggering on train tracks.